about suppressors and the 6 things I wish I knew before getting one. So these are some things that you would think everyone knows nowadays because cans are pretty common, but I still get questions from people like, oh, do you need a class 3 license for that, and things like that, and they may just not know. So if you're one of those people, this is a good video for you. If you are familiar with them, I got some cool tricks you might still not know that I figured out along the way. So before we get started, I want to say a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, which is called Aura. So Aura is pretty cool. They do identity theft protection, fraud protection, stuff like that, and you get a free VPN. So check out the link in the description as well as the comment section, and you can get a 14-day free trial through the channel. It'll help you out a lot, believe me. It gets rid of spam calls, which is huge, and it helps the channel out. So check it out.
1.
So we'll start out with the least interesting of all of these things, which is the legal side of it. So basically, you don't need a class 3 license like you would for a fully automatic firearm. You just need a tax stamp from the ATF, which is a massive infringement and unconstitutional, but you need one. So it's $200. You submit a very simple form with fingerprints and all that stuff to the ATF, and it takes them like 8 months to a year to get it back to you.
They're all sloths?
Now to do this, you have to go to a gun shop that will have the ability to do it, or preferably the kiosk, the silencer code kiosk. That thing's really nice, it makes it easy. But that's the first thing you gotta do, is you're gonna have to pay $200 per suppressor and do the whole process every time. It's not like a license you get and then you can have as many as you want. They want to make it as miserable as possible because that's how they do. So yes, $200 each one, and that's your permitting process. The other things on the legal note is you gotta watch which states you go into, because you might buy it and have all your licensing in your state, and you might cross one state line and that state may not allow them. Then if you're going to a state that does allow them, you may cross through ones that don't, so there's different rules that apply there. So if you are not the reading type, you may not want to get into this kind of thing, but if you get a suppressor, you're going to want to educate yourself on where you're going, what the laws are, and how to keep yourself out of jail, because I don't know about you, but I don't like jail.
Oh, you don't know about jail? Oh, you would love jail. You would love it. 2.
Know your suppressor's limits, because they do have them. For example, this is a Dead Air Sandman S in 30 cal. So this is good for 30 caliber bullets all the way down to whatever will fit through here, preferably not rimfire type stuff because of lead fouling and stuff like that. So if you get a can like this, you're good for all those caliber sizes. But you have to check things like barrel restrictions. Some of them have a minimum barrel length that you can't go below, or it can damage your can over time. So like the Dead Air Sandman, why I have it, there's no barrel length restriction for any caliber, and it's full auto rated. So this thing, it's a little heavy, but it's a beast. So when you're looking at cans, one of the things you're gonna wanna look at are what your limitations are gonna be. So this one, there's no limitations on any of that. Now, it's the Osprey 45K from Silencer Co. This can shoot 45 on down to whatever pistol calibers, and 300 blackout subsonic only. So that's a little bit of a tricky thing too. So you gotta watch what each thing is rated for. I don't shoot 300 blackout through this at all, just in case a supersonic round ends up in a mag. I don't know what it would do, but I don't really want to find out. So that's the other thing you gotta look at when you're looking at a different can, is what it's gonna be able to do and if that's going to work for you.
3.
It is a life sentence. So when you're researching which can you're going to get, don't cut corners, watch as many videos as you can find about them, read as many descriptions of them on every single site, read people's comments and reviews. You want to get as much research, because although you can sell NFA items and go through the process, it's not easy and it's not likely unless you really take a bath on how much you spent on it. So you want to make sure you're getting the can you want. For example, the Dead Air Sandman S, I love this can. It's QD, which is nice, the quick detach, it's everything I could want. The Osprey 45K, I liked it a lot originally, and I still like it to a degree, but it pretty much just lives on the PCC. It's not great on a pistol because of the shape, which is also the bonus of the can. It's hard to work with flashlights, it's hard to get holsters for it. It's just not the greatest. The biggest thing is the cam that locks on here does this thing where if you try to tighten it all the way, it kind of jumps a gear, as you can hear. For you guys, I jumped a gear just so you could hear it. Hope you're grateful. But yeah, so like if I went back, I've had this for probably 7 years, this can. If I went back, I probably wouldn't have got this again, but I am married to it. So do your research, make sure you get what you want, and don't cut those corners. On that note, a good thing to do when you're researching is to determine how many cans you're realistically going to get. I imagine myself only getting 2, so I tried to get a 45 can so I could do, on a 1911 all the way down, and a 30 cal. Realistically, I'll probably end up with 4 cans by the end, and I could have got a designated 9mm because that's really all I shoot through it. So I would have been better off getting a designated 9mm can. So hindsight's 20/20, but if you do the research, you might save yourself some hassle.
4.
Warranties. Kind of like the fact that you're going to be married to this forever, most likely. You're going to want to make sure the company that you get it from has good support, good warranties, parts available, things like that, because, I mean, for the most part, it's going to run just fine, but you may someday put the wrong caliber through it. You might get some weird bad bullet, freaky thing. You could put it on a barrel the threads are not concentric with the bore, and you could get a major damage or catastrophic failure. So make sure you read the warranty of the company you're getting, because it could come in very handy. Dead air is supposed to be pretty top-notch from what I hear. I've never needed it. And silencer code is supposed to be pretty good. So check that out. It's a good thing to research.
5.
Some things to check to prevent failures and catastrophic events. One of which is the bore concentricity. Concentricity? Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The bore straight with your threads. So what can happen is, a lot of people say this about AKs. They're known to have wonky threads. You put a can on there, your barrel might be like this, and your can might be like that a little bit, and your bolt comes out, seems good first couple baffles, and then blows out your baffles, or even just nicks them a little. It's not great. So it's simple enough. You get a bore alignment rod, you put this on your firearm, drop the rod down to make sure it's coming out dead nut center of that can, and it's not that hard to do. You just gotta buy the rods. You get them from a real company. They're like $70. If you go to a website called Mastercar, you can find the cheat sheet for it on Reddit. You can buy the other ones for like $5. I have one for each caliber I use, and it'll save you a lot of trouble. The next trick, this is a cool one. This might prevent damage, but it's pretty cool. On pistols, with a direct thread like this, it tends to walk off a bit as you shoot, and no matter what I do, it always happens. It always slowly walks off, and then you're kind of grabbing your can every now and then to retighten it. So I just discovered that I get high temperature gas Teflon tape, people who do gas work, and you just put one little wrap, not very much, one little wrap on the threads, and it kind of works like a lock washer or like a little bit of a Loctite. For example, I have it on my Stribog here, and it is snug. I mean, I could break it loose if I want to, but it does not walk. I can shoot a whole competition with it on there, no problem. So this is a good one. Another tip to know is that, which nobody told me this when I got cans, I had to figure this out on my own. When you put it on a fixed barrel, a pistol can, you have to put a fixed barrel spacer. It'll look about the same size as this spring, but it'll be a solid piece of some type of metal or copper, and it just keeps your can from moving. See how it doesn't stretch? Normally, you would put this is inside, and when you pull on it, your whole can would sponge a little bit, and that's how, I think they call it a booster, or a Nielsen device, something like that for pistols. It's essential on pistols. They won't even cycle without it, but if you put it on a fixed barrel, apparently it can, when you're firing, it could still be moving or get stuck and cause baffle strikes. So that's one that nobody told me. Luckily, I figured it out before I tried it. So keep that in mind, that you need a fixed barrel spacer for fixed barrels.
6.
And last, and with much regret, it's not going to be as quiet as the movies. You're not going to have that, James Bond, pew pew. It's going to be pretty snappy. Most calibers, you still need to wear ear pros so you don't get hearing damage. But if you tweak it just right and you get some subsonic loads and things like that, control your gas systems, it'll help a lot. It'll be pretty dang quiet. You may not even need ear pro for those certain ones. But for the most part, it's not going to be like the movies. So hopefully just save you some letdown right there. This video was written and directed by the Ninja in Flannel. Please like, comment, and subscribe.